Hi everyone, how's it going? Look at it. It's pretty cold today. Well, this is my last day of the Christmas holidays. Most people are back at work. It's Monday today. I'm fortunate enough to have an extra day. But today's going to be a busy day. I've got things to do, and I just thought I'd show you what I've got to do today before I get ready to go back to work tomorrow. As you can see, I've got to take all these down today. They've all got to come down. Look at these two looking at me out the window, look at them. Alright, let's get in and yeah, it's a bit warmer now. Right, I said I was going to cook some sausage rolls. I've done these last night. Look at these. Look at them. Yeah, they look lovely. So today I'm going to cook a bread pudding. So I just thought I'd show you how to do that, and then maybe get a car out a bit later. I don't know. See what the weather's doing. Right, I always use a washing up bowl for this. So we're going to make a bread pudding. Just put a bit of washing up liquid and some hot water in, and just to clean it all out, get it nice and clean. It's nothing worse than a dirty washing up bowl. Right, got to make sure it's nice and clean for making this in. Right, that's all clean. Right, now, let me just dry my hands. Right, I bought two of these. 2 loaves of bread. Probably won't use all of it, but we'll see how much we can get. So I'll just start with opening these up the bread. And we'll just start ripping it up and throwing it in the bag. I don't use the crust bits, so I'll just get a few bits of bread. We'll use 1 loaf to start, and we'll see where we go from there. Right, all you basically do is just rip it all up into little pieces, and just get it so that it's all sort of shredded up. That's pretty much how I like to do this. I've not done it for quite some time. My nan used to make it all the time for us when we was little. I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't say it was the most healthiest of foods. It contains quite a lot of sugar and lots of bad things, but you know, what's wrong with a treat now and again? I've been on a diet for quite some time now, so it's going to be quite difficult not to eat a lot of this, but I'm sure I've got the willpower to do it. But I'm definitely going to have a piece. Without a doubt. All the rest of the family, they all like a bit of bread pudding as well. So it's a recipe that my nan used to make, and it is quite popular in London. I know that some of yous are in London or down south, and they know all about bread pudding. There's one thing you can't get up here, and that's they call them London cheesecakes. And I was talking about it to my uncle, because he lives in York, and they've lived up here for years. And he was saying every time he goes back down to London, he always gets a London cheesecake. It's just like puff pastry with like a coconutty flavoured like icing on the top. it's got a name to it. I can't remember what name of it, like desiccated or desiccated coconut or something like that. Anyway, that's quite a nice cake to get, but you just cannot get them here. I've not seen them. So every time I used to go down to London myself, I always used to get a London cheesecake. If you say that to anyone up here, they look a bit confused. Especially when you say, well, it's puff pastry with like a funny sort of like a jammy bit with a bit of coconut on the top. They're like, well, they don't sound nothing like a cheesecake, but you know, that's what I got used to. Anyway, that looks quite good. That's about 1.5 loaves of an 800 gram loaf. So what's that? 1200 grams of bread. It's quite stodgy, this as well. It's you wouldn't want a lot of it. As far as I know, it used to be like an old wartime recipe, where you know you'd get the stale bread, or the bread that's not really much good anymore. You wouldn't want it for sandwiches, just go in dry sort of thing. Not turning blue, I mean you wouldn't want to use that, but just go in dry, and you'd use that, you know, you could get that. You could also go to the bakers and pick up stale bread years ago. There's not many bakers shops about anymore. There used to be loads when I was younger. Most sort of high streets had, you know, 2 or 3 bakeries. And they used to be open from early hours in the morning, you know, baking fresh bread and cakes and stuff. Then now you don't get none of that, which is a shame. I'm sure there's probably a few about, but not many. Right, the next ingredient, I'll just get that out if I can find it now, because I've put everything away. Right, we've got, I've got to get it all out of the cupboard, sorry. Right, some mixed fruit. You don't have to have these, but I like them. Some cherries, them glacé or glacier or whatever you call them, and some mixed pill. Some of that. That's what you need in there. Now this is a 1 kilogram bag. That's what I say, they're quite stodgy. Once you know, it weighs a ton when you've made it. And the main ingredient, if I can just squeeze that door past, because I've probably blocked myself in. Hang on. Is this stuff. Ground mixed spice. That's the stuff that makes it taste lovely. So first things first, let's put a little bit of water just to get it started. And that's all you really use. You kind of just mix water in with it, just gently. I'll just leave the tap just running slightly. This is why I find it easier to make it in a washing up bowl, because it's literally over the sink. Plus on top of that, there's not many mixing bowls that size that can take all the mixture. Right, as you can see, it's pretty sort of gooey. Pretty much the same consistency as if you was making like stuffing balls. Do you know what I mean? Pretty much like that. You don't want it too wet, but you also don't want it too soggy. Let's just rinse my hands off a bit. Might need a little bit more bread, to be honest. Might need a little bit more. So we used 1.5 loaves. Probably got another 5. So you ain't got much left out of 2 loaves. There's probably what, 4 slices and a bit of crust left. So I'll just rip a bit more up, a bit more bread. Obviously we'll have to make it a bit more wetter now, because we're adding more bread into the mix. I'll just you kind of guess it, you know. It's no sort of science to it. A little bit of water just to soften it up a bit. Right. Obviously, the more softer it is, the more softer the pudding's going to be, but you don't want it so that it's just soaking wet. Right, that's a good consistency, that. You know, you can pick it up and it's, I'm trying to find a word for it, sort of claggy. It's like a stuffing mix. That's about as close as I can get to how you want it. You want to squash all of the crusts and everything, though. You don't want it so that the crusts are still there. Do you know what I mean? You want, like, there's bits of crust. You want to sort of squash it. You don't want to leave the crust bits. Right, I think now we're ready to add a few more bits. Now what I normally do is I just add a bit of milk. Just give me 2 secs. Right, a little bit of milk, and I mean a little bit, not a lot. That's it. Tiny bit of milk, and we'll start adding all the rest of the ingredients now. That pot, 200 gram pot of cherries. I don't even know how to get this out. Right, that's it. I hate the lids on these things. Right, look at all them. Right, I'm going to throw all them in. All of them. If they come out, they're quite sticky. Now this, like I say, this cake, when it's cooked, is like, the only word I can sort of describe it as is stodgy. It's really heavy. It's a heavy cake, so you won't want to eat a lot of it. The mixed peel, yeah, probably put the whole lot in that as well. That sort of gives it a bit of texture. This stuff, it stays quite firm, and yeah, you can sort of taste that inside. It's nice. It's quite a nice texture and flavour. And now, a 1 kilogram bag of fruit. Mixed fruit. Whole bag. Let's see. Might not need the whole bag yet. See, that's got bits of that peel in it as well. Right, let's see how we get on with that. I've used about 3/4 of a bag. So it's about 750 grams of fruit. Just mixing it in. Now obviously once you start mixing the fruit in, it all starts to firm up a bit. So I might have to add a little bit more water. But you want to get it so that it's, yeah, that's still a little bit firm. So we just add a tad more water. Just a little bit. Don't want to put too much water in. Yeah, the fruit's still sort of loose. You want to get that squashed into every single bit of bread. You don't want any loose. Like I say, it's a funny sort of mixture, this. That might be enough. I don't think I might want much more fruit in there. But you can see how the fruit's still loose. You don't want that. You want the fruit all into the bread. And if it's not sticking, there might be a case of there might not be enough bread yet. Might actually end up using the 2 full loaves. It's sort of sticking now, it's going now. Right, put a little bit more water. Just keep adding just a tad more water to it. Yeah, that's it. because what happens is it dries out. So you know, if you're going to attempt to make this, you might find that once you put the fruit in, everything starts to dry out again. Oh, that tap's still dripping. You don't want it too wet. You want it so you can like pick it up like that. Look. You can see it's soft and gooey, but you don't want it. You don't want it so that it's too wet, because otherwise, what will happen is when you cook it, you'll just end up burning the top of the cake, and then it won't cook. The middle bit will just stay too soft. Yeah, that's sort of snowball kind of consistency, like that. But you can squidge it pretty easily in your fingers. It's hard to sort of explain a consistency to somebody when they're not there, but that's all I can really do. If you kind of describe it as like a stuffing ball. Right, I would say that's near enough about ready. So next thing, let me just rinse my hands off. So now for the main ingredient, that's a whole jar of this stuff. Ground mixed spice, the whole jar. Take the lid off. Right, the whole lot, whole of it in. Mix it round. Oh, that smells really nice now. It smells like a cake now. Throw a bit more in. Right, that's the whole jar, ground mixed spice. And that is 33 grams jar of that, just in case anyone's wondering. Right, a tiny little bit more water just to help it mix. Don't want a lot of water. Like I say, you don't want it too wet. All the bread now, you've got to make it so that it turns brown, so you get all that mixture in. It's nice if you like making mud pies or getting your hands dirty. So I have to knead this for a while. Just get it all mixed in. Done sort of lumps of spice in corners and things. Get it all mixed. So it's still quite sort of firm and sticky. I'll just go for a tiny little bit more water. You're going to have to sort of judge this yourselves. You know, if you're making it, you might not want to make it. You might think, oh, that looks really horrible. I shan't bother. But if you do decide to make it, you'll see what I mean. And this is why, you can tell now why I use a washing up bowl. Because it's a lot of ingredients, a lot of mixture, and also it makes it a lot easier to sort of keep adding water. Right, let's get in there now. Look, you don't want anything like that. You see that white bits like that, you don't want that. That's a bit of crust. So what you want to do is kind of get, see there's a big lump of it there. You want to kind of get rid of that. Just squash it up in your fingers. It will disappear. It will go, but you don't want hard lumps in it because you will notice it when the cake's cooked. Now that's starting to look like a proper cake mixture now. It does take a lot of. Oh, I've lost a big lump of it there. Right. I think we're nearly ready to put it in the tin. Yep. Yeah, that's all squashed down. So just get it all off my fingers. Don't want to waste too much of it. I'll just wash my hands off. Try not to get water into the bowl if I can help it. Luckily I've got like a little sink bit at the side. Some of you might not have that. So if you don't, just be careful you don't get water in your bowl. Right, I'll just dry my hands. Right, I'll get this, start putting this into the tin. I'll be back in a sec. Right, I'm back. Now, I did forget something. Forgot the sugar. Got to put a little bit of sugar in this. That's why it's very sweet cake. Right, that's one sort of tablespoon, let's say, of sugar. So let's put that in. That's 2. Right, 2.5. Fairly large dessert. Sorry, not a tablespoon, a dessert spoon. 2.5 of those. You can sort of gauge that for yourself. Right, I'm going to leave that hot tap running again. I'm going to have to put this, mix this sugar in now. Right, that mix just firmed up quite a bit again. So I don't want it too soggy. So just mix that round, make sure that sugar's in the mix. Can't believe I missed the most important bit out, the sugar. Right. That should be mixed in enough. Right. I've just rinsed my hands off again. Oh, I can't believe I missed out the sugar. Wow. Main bit. Can't have a cake that's not sweat. Right. Right, back in a sec and I'll grease that tin. Right, everyone. Right, the tin's all ready greased up now. So I'm just going to start transferring all of that mixture into the tray. Like I say, it's quite a heavy, stodgy cake when it's made. That's it. Oh, that's all the mixture. Bowl's empty now, so yeah. So what was that? That was nearly 2 full loaves of bread, and about 750 grams of fruit, and some cocktail cherries, and some mixed peel. To be honest, that's properly, you know, filled this tray. Could probably have done with a little bit more mixture, to be fair, to fill this tin. Could probably have used the whole loaf. I just sort of spread this out evenly now. So the mixture itself started to firm up a little bit. So I'm just going to spread it out, try and get it even in the tin. So well greased tin, make sure the tin's been well greased. Just pat this all down just to make it sort of as smooth as you can, all round to the edges. Now, I'm not sure about the cooking time or temperature, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it about, I'll probably put it on because we got a fan assisted oven, so you'd have to work that one out for yourselves. But I think usually it'll be about gas mark 6, I should think, if you're using a gas oven. So as this electric fan assisted oven. Right, that's pretty even. You want the cake even. You don't want it, you know, because the mixture's really firm. You don't want it so that it's sort of skinny at one end and fat at the other, because it's going to cook uneven. Right, that looks about right. Now this cake won't rise, it won't do anything. If I'd used the full loaf of bread, it might have come probably to the top of the tin, but then it would have been really thick. So just going to rinse this bowl, wash my hands, and we'll get it in the oven, and then we'll see how long it takes. So I've not cooked one of these for quite some time. Right, so now I've got my clean hands, nice and clean. Put the oven on. I think that oven, I would say, I think it's, because all of our markings have come off the oven, but I think it's about gas mark 6 equivalent, which is what I cook the sausage rolls on, which is about 180, maybe 200. I don't quite know myself, but we pull it on that. Yeah, look, it's in the oven there. Now, just waiting to go. So what I'll do is I'll leave it on in there. I've not preheated the oven, I should have done really, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, see what I mean with the dial. I can't really tell, all of the markings have come off. Old cooker. But yeah, I think that's about 200, maybe 220. I might just turn it down a little bit. Keep it about 200 and we'll see where we go from there. Right, I'll catch us all when this is ready. Right, everyone, I'm back 45 minutes later. Oh, by the way, that was 180 degrees. I checked in the manual for the cooker. So yeah, 180 degrees, just over 45 minutes, about 47 minutes. Right, should be ready. Right, there we go. Yeah, that's done. Just starting to go brown. The edges always go a little bit crusty, but I don't know if you can see that. It's still quite soft. It's not burnt on the top, so just a little bit browner on the edges, but that's it. And yeah, that should be ready to cut up into little squares about that big. So I'll probably cut it into squares, maybe about that. So you might get, yeah, probably get 4 lots out of that. And yeah, we'll come back when it's cooled down, and then I'll just finish the cake off, and then I'll cut a piece out, and then you can see it. But yeah, wow, that oven was really hot. It really took my face off. Right, I'll be back in a little while. Right, everyone, right, I'm back. Been outside, took all the decorations down, and just about, that's nice and cool now. Bloody cut my hand, look at that. Yeah, caught me on the rose bush as I was putting the decorations away. Right, let's say you finish it off. Just a little bit of sugar on the top, we'll say a little bit, quite a bit. That's another 1.5 dessert spoonfuls of sugar on the top there. A little bit more for luck. Right. And what I'll do is I'll just cut it up into squares. It's cooled down nicely now. I'll just chop it all up. So you don't need a lot of this. It's quite stodgy. That's the only word I can sort of put to it. It's a heavy cake, quite heavy. The squares I'm cutting are quite large, to be fair. You wouldn't want much more than that. I usually cut the edges off. They're a little bit, they do get a little bit burnt around the edges. Right, let's take a piece out. We can have a look at it. And just get something I can get it out with. That might do it. Just take a middle section. They're always the best ones. Well, you can see now, can't you? There you go. That's rather a large piece. That's enough probably for two. Quite big. I'll just chop that again. There you go. Like I say, that's plenty. That's what it looks like. Bread pudding. I'll just take a bite. Yeah, it's really nice. Lovely. And you can really taste the cocktail cherry things in them cherries. Right, I'm just going to finish that piece off now. I hope you like that video. Just how I make bread pudding. So I've not done it for a while, but I just thought I'd show you how I do it. Yeah, that's really nice. Right, I'll catch you all on the next one.